Many newly minted tech students enter the job market with little guidance on how to navigate their new industry, how to tailor their resume, prepare for interviews, manage unconscious bias. Our guest recognized this problem in the tech hiring world, and she's sharing how she solved it with her amazing platform. That's right, it's Fab Female Founder Friday on the Startup Life Live Show. Let's do this. Let's glow. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Ande, Lyons, startup champion to first-time founders and, frankly, all founders who are out there having the courage to launch and build and brand a business. Come on, you guys are amazing. After raising 4 of my own businesses, that is, I now love sharing these startup stories and my own advice on how you can sleep through the night. That's right. Get some peace of mind from my Andy-licious advice. And that's advice that's core startup business strategies delivered with high enthusiasm, inspiration, and joy. Thank you for carving out time to tune in and up your founder game while cheering on a fellow founder. And for those of you who are watching now and via the replay, wherever you are, I would be so grateful for your support of the show by liking the video that you're watching. And if you're on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon so that you're alerted whenever I post a new episode. So, I am so excited to introduce you to this phenomenal guest we have today. She's going to light your hearts up. She's a lot of fun, and it's Lily Andemariam. And just because she has my name in the first part of her name, she's delicious. We know that she is. So, as I said earlier, Lily recognized a problem in the tech world and the hiring, especially of new tech talent, and especially for BIPOC newbie tech talent. And so she solved that problem and launched Product South, a centralized, supportive, and diverse tech ecosystem that uplifts the underrepresented. Let me just bring up the logo here so you can go check out the website. You can see the URL right there. Product South's mission is to diversify the tech industry while providing educational and networking opportunities for tech talent. Oh gosh, Lily is a favorite of mine. I follow her everywhere she goes. I hope you will too, because she's got the moves and the grooves. Welcome to the show, Lily. Wait a minute, where are my clappers?
Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so happy you're here. Where are you today? Where are you hailing from?
Today I'm actually in Cincinnati, Ohio, but I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay. There we go. Well,
yeah.
And I don't know if you're having the kind of winter we are, but it's been pretty cold and pretty challenging.
It's definitely cold. I haven't seen this much in snow for so long.
Right.
Like I moved out of Ohio, what feels like almost 10 years ago, but it's definitely not 10, maybe like 8 years ago. And I lived in California, and now I live in Georgia. And so I definitely have not seen snow like this for a while.
No,
so
it's no fun. I was sharing with someone a meme of, that movie, The Shining. And there's that thing where he comes finally, he's really going insane, and he breaks through the door and he's like, here's Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little, between COVID and all the snow, I'm feeling a little cabin fever myself right now.
Yeah, I just keep going from my family house to my house. So that way I can have humans around a little bit.
Perfect.
Yes.
So I want to tell the audience just quickly here, folks, we love to celebrate what you're doing and amplify your business. So be sure to put your business name, your one-liner, so that we know what it is that you're doing, and the URL to your website into the comment threads. And Lily and I will take a moment and go, say, what? You're amazing. Come on. It's all about cheering each other on and making sure that we are celebrated, right? Wherever we glow. We have a few folks that are stopping by to say hi. Hi, Nikki Pasquier. Oh, very wet and rainy UK. You shared a beautiful IG story, Nikki, of your beautiful pastoral with the sheep and everything. So beautiful. Lily, Nikki is the one who created all my branding. We love that.
Oh, nice. Yes, 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 yes. I
And
love it. Great
I,
job.
I'm back. And thank you, Mia, for saying hi, Andy Licious and Lily Licious today. And
Love it.
Mia has she's a brand ambassador, mouthy activist, and an incredible podcast host and live stream host herself. But I always want to remind people, be sure to tune into Mia's podcast, Shit We Don't Talk About. And I say that,
Oh
but here
yeah.
we go.
I may
Because
need to tune into that.
right, these are, the challenges and
Mhm.
in life. And Mia, I always say she should come with a warning label. It's that good and
I
spicy
love it.
and hot. So we're going to get talking about you now because you are a 2 times founder with a really strong product background. So I'd love for you to share with folks how you first put on that entrepreneurship tiara, because it's
Hmm.
hard to leave when you're working at some of the largest corporations. You're on payroll, you got benefits, you get vacation days.
Hmm.
What is it that called to you that said, nope, I want to go do this. I want to go and become an entrepreneurial adventure. Share your
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, no, thank you. And just even before we start, I want to thank you again, Andy, for tapping into product sales and myself and reaching out. I think this is amazing what you're doing. So I'm excited to learn more about you as well in this process, hopefully, and just share what my experience has been as a founder. But yeah, to your point, it's definitely not easy to go from corporate to full-time founder. The first time I did it, so my brother actually wanted to start a company, and I was really helping him. So the depth was not as much, and I've been helping him as a co-founder, but really focused on like sales funnels, right? Like getting sales to the company while I was still doing my corporate job, which
Nice.
I've been in corporate for a while. I think it's like I want to say almost 10 years. Everything just feels like almost 10 years because it's so long. So when I first started, it was really just a side hustle, like let me help him. It was that kind
Mhm.
of work. And then in 2017, I was actually with a company called Uniqlo, and we were in San Francisco and New York, and the company closed the SF office and asked us to move to New York. And I decided like, hey, I don't want to move to New York, and if I were going to move somewhere, it would be Atlanta. And then as I was going through that for my personal life, then I was conversing with my brother and decided, hey, why don't we, we've been doing this business on the side where he's really the main focus, I'll be honest. But why don't I jump full time and take all these skills that I've learned in corporate, from sales to marketing to technology, like building technology,
Right.
and then how can I use that for for our own company, which was called Rem High. And the goal of that company was still in that same capacity. So being able to create that digital experience for founders. So if you're
Yeah.
a founder and you're looking to build your app or your website, then we'll come in and we'll help build that for you. And then the other thing we did is we also went as far as educating. So we'll go to like incubators and educate them, the
Nice.
students on the students on like what's product development. So when we were doing that,
So that's wonderful. So not only did you have the experience of being in the trenches with your brother to see the
Mhm,
challenges that happen, first as a side hustler and said, okay, I'm not moving to New York, so let me do
mhm.
this, let me help out. But also you got to teach at accelerators and talk to other founders.
Yeah, which as you know, it's like it's super exciting because people are so passion driven, right? And when you're a founder, yes, the financials are important, but that's really not why you jump because I mean, like less people jump for the money than not. I'll just say that, because it is a lot of hard work
Right.
and
You do it
you
for
give
the
up a
art.
lot. Yeah, and so so long story short, which is super long at this point, but long
No,
story
no,
short,
no.
um,
I always find these stories interesting, don't you, viewers? Because it really helps us understand what motivates Lily. And we can relate. We hear that beginning story so that if
mhm,
we hear everything that she's going through today, we go, aha. So go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, and so I moved to Atlanta in 2017, became a full-time co-founder, which was fabulous. Like I loved it. I love the energy. Like I am the kind of person that I tell myself like I'm slightly bougie because I like nice things, but money doesn't drive me. Different things drive different people, and to me, it really is impact. Like when I can see that I'm making a difference in someone's life, that drives me. That can also lead to being poor because if I don't focus on the financial, I can really do business for free,
Right.
right? Like,
Everybody give me a wave if they understand what Lily just said there. Oh yeah.
like really fast. And so the first time I was a co-founder, it was very interesting. The lesson learned from there to me was, so the reason why I jumped is because I loved it. We wanted to help specifically diverse founders and build their technology products, because we noticed in the market a lot of people didn't know how to go about it. They just thought like, okay, technology, like a website just happened or an app happened, and it's a very like, it's there's a lot of work that goes behind
There's
it, and it is.
there's a lot
And
of product description. You've got to, you can't just say, oh, I want this app. Could you go do
yeah.
that for me? No. You got to give them clear instructions, or the next thing you know, you're
Mhm.
at a 50K.
Exactly. And a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to outsource it or offshore it, right? Like, which is totally fine. If you know what you're doing, then you can ask the right question and get the right dev team and design team and all that good stuff, right? And what we noticed in our community is a lot of people needed that. They didn't know how to go about it. So we did a little bit of the education aspect and a lot of the building aspects, right? So when we were doing that, the problem with that, what I found with that company is I jumped too soon without really knowing the plan, and I got scared when it wasn't working as fast as it would work in corporate. That's where the issue came about, right?
That's honesty right there. That's facts,
It's
everybody. Hashtag facts.
very major facts. Like it's really real. Like I remember, I think my brother should know this if he doesn't. Like he will now watching this, but I remember in August 2017, I was low-key depressed because I just was like, whoa, it's a lot of work. I'm trying to push forward all of these things and it's not working as fast. And I'm a sprinter, right? Like I like to sprint. Even when I work out, I like to like be aggressive with my workout. I'm just like go in. I'm that kind of person. Yeah. Like I would like, and what I learned is you don't get the same you don't get the same results as you do in a big company because it's not the same work,
And
and they're just
yeah, and those of you who are doing the side hustle right now, really take this in and adjust your expectations. I was just telling one of my
mhm.
clients the other day, hey, it's that 10-year overnight success.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is.
And you're right. You're used to, where are my people? Let's get these things happening. Where's the money, to support the level? And you also you're bootstrapping, you're on the skinny
Mhm.
and because you don't have the brand name, you talk to people, they're like, hey, I don't know who you are.
And for us moving to Atlanta, it was great because also coming from Silicon Valley, it was great because people trusted our opinion, right? They're like, oh, she's coming from, she worked in SF, so therefore, like that's the tech hub, and so there was that trust, which was great. The problem, and I'm trying so hard not to read the comments because I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
I want to know.
we'll put Lauren's comment up here. Yes, corporate where you have the team fully integrated and you have all the right
Yes,
experts. Now you've offshored this and you don't have as many inputters.
you
Hi,
don't.
Lauren. Thank you for that. It's so
For
nice.
sure.
And it's so
Definitely
night and
night and
day.
day.
Yeah. So nice.
Definitely. But yeah, so anyways, I lost my train of thought, but
Oh,
long
but
story
you
short,
got
it's
nervous.
hard.
So it didn't go as fast as you wanted it to. And you
Yeah,
were
yeah,
like,
yeah.
now what do I do?
I was,
Yeah.
and and I came from making tech money, which was good money, to like investing tech money, not making tech money, investing tech money, which is a complete different. And a lot of people, and myself included, have to continuously tell myself like you have to invest. You can't just wait to make money. You have to you have to spend money to make money is
Yes.
the terminology.
I
And
wanted to
so
put I wanted to put you up in full screen and because I have to just say right now that I'm having a moment. I'm having an Andy-licious moment, folks, because what Lily just said is so important. Marketing is not an expense. It's an
Mhm,
investment. It goes into the investment category because then you're going to look for a return on your marketing dollar investment. And what
mhm,
Lily just said here is a concept that many first-time founders have a hard time with, which is how much money or oxygen are you going to give your business? And so
mhm.
I am so happy you brought that up, Lily. Thank
It is
you.
it is so important, and I think when you're a first time founder, speaking for myself, there's so much scarcity, right? And when you're not seeing, for me, we were doing well. It's not that we weren't doing well, but where I got scared was I couldn't see when we're going to be on the positive, and that scared me. And then at this point, of course, my brother has been running the business for a while, so the level of excitement has decreased on one side but increased on the other side, but you need both of your, both of them, both individuals, to keep pushing it. So that's the other thing to think about when you're thinking about your co-founders. Where are they in their journey? Like how likely are they to take the level of risk that you're willing to take, right? Like even in my current co-founder founder relationship, we have to talk about those things, because it is different, because we are different humans, our lives are different, right? Like I may be, I can take, my risk tolerance could be a lot higher than somebody else's, or a lot lower than somebody else's. And there's nothing wrong with either or, because you can still use that to your advantage. It's just having those conversations and knowing where the other person stands also is key. So a lot of lesson learned.
You're sharing so much great advice for founders right now,
Aw.
because that is really important. And, it's one thing to go, oh, I'd like to start a business. I'm not sure what, or, dive in. This looks great. I have a background in this and I know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Wonderful. But will it feed you in a way that you'll be able to go through the frustration? So that's why you always hear the North Star, or as Simon Sinek says, what's your why? It's
Mhm.
because that's what gets you out from under the covers in the morning, when you want to just go, I can't deal with
It's not for me. And my days, I will leave the cover, but I'll go to the gym and just be there for a whole day. I'm like, I live here now, guys. This is my gym is my safe space, honestly. Like, I should be fit. How much I like to work out. I also love to eat, so you got to
Yeah,
balance
right.
life.
You got to balance it. Like there's a lot of emotional eating
Oh
when you have your
yeah,
own business.
yeah, or
So,
not eating,
yeah,
depending on who you are.
right.
And so.
But Lily brought up a really good point, and especially with a co-founder, and it's that sort of maybe a hard thing to calibrate or understand,
Mhm.
but having that passion and that need that compels you
Mhm.
to solve the big, hairy problems that you get faced with, including how are we going to pay to eat? How are
Mhm.
we going to pay for that
Mhm.
vendor or do things like that? Lily, thank you so much for sharing such great, transparent uh,
Yeah.
side effects that are real when you launch a business, and then how the points that one person can be excited, but then who knows, they drift, and that
Yeah.
can happen.
Yeah.
Let me just
And
say a
that's.
quick hi to Nikki for just a quick. Oh yeah, right, Nikki.
Mhm.
Well, we'd like to say it. My good friend Nancy and I are saying it. We like to say it. I'm a turtle on roller skates.
Oh, nice. You know what? I like that. I need to be a little bit more of a turtle on roller skate.
You're moving, but not
Yeah.
the sprint. And I can understand that. And
Mhm.
speaking of a sprinter, I mean, Anna, she's like boom, 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 boom. But you're going to, Anna's going to be the classic, the 10 night overnight success, because she has
Mhm.
put it consistently year after year after year on her platform, the Wellness Universe. And
Mhm.
anybody with a platform out there where you're trying to get people off social media to come hang, and you're going to talk about this, I know, Lily, on your website, it's going to feel like you're herding cats, and cat lovers
Mhm.
know what I'm talking about. It's not like to the dogs, right? No, it's herding
Mhm.
cats. Maybe I'll come, maybe I won't.
Yeah. No, that I mean, there are so many different nuance in being a founder, and I'll be honest, like there's some days I'm like, oh my God, I love what I do because I see the result, right? Like I see when we talked about Clubhouse a little bit, we hold ongoing rooms around in Clubhouse focused on like product management and how do you break into product management. And when I see people are getting the help that they need, that excites me and it fuels me until the next Monday, because it really is hard. And just going back to like lessons learned and why I do it. So why I do it is not for the money, even though I'm bougie and I want the money. So one is I don't do it for the money. I do it because it really does fuel me to see people be successful. That's one. And then there was another point I forgot. Oh,
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
the lesson learned, like it just takes so much to be a successful founder, and I don't believe I'm there yet, I'll be honest, but it just takes a lot of hard work. So you really have to think, like, definitely jump, but take calculated risks when you jump, and then also make sure you have a pulse on your team, especially the founding team, to see where they are in their lives, right? Because what you would hate to do is be one dimensional and say, hey, this is how I operate, but you have a team and your team would prefer to operate in a certain way, which is kind of what happened between my brother and I, and even my current co-founder. we had a different level of I don't want to say like how aggressively we're going to chase something, right? Like it's different. Nothing is wrong with one or the other. It's just different. And so just having those ongoing conversations are also going to help you.
Anybody with a co-founder out there, you know that that's really important. And that's why, as a team, you got to bring the professionalism to the heart side and the relationship side of your business. Because as co-founders, from the beginning, you've got to have it set down in writing, legal document. What are the rules of engagement here? And that includes if one of you ain't feeling the love no more, you're gonna have a bailout clause in that operating agreement, because life happens and we have to honor each other's journey, but you want to have it in legal, nicely wrapped up in the right words so that you know when it's time to have that difficult conversation, you already have the landscape ready for you to have it because you know what that's going to look like. And so I just want to commend you for sharing this side of founderhood, which is that uncertainty, that the days when you're just not feeling that adequate about it all, but understanding what's going to fill you up to get to the next week, to then fill your tank up again. And it really is about serving who you're serving. So let's talk about how you saw this incredible problem. I mean, first of all, 20 years ago, certainly we had Kimmy Pollock on the show in early January. She got her degree in computer science at Dartmouth in maybe 2001. Woman of color, like who saw anybody of color in the tech industry, really, right? And then, for her getting a job was really hard. Then she got her master's at MIT, and it was still really hard. And she just launched a business because nobody would hire her. And she's really good. So I love that you saw that this problem, you're coming out, you get this great degree, you want to enter, but you can't. When did you first see this problem?
Yeah, and it's two parts, right? Like we saw one from an education perspective, there's an opportunity, especially for a specific demography. So we focus on African American, Latinx, immigrant, and indigenous people within the US. While we service anybody around globally, like that's the core audience that we go for. And what we noticed is at the grander scale, it really was not just about technology. It really is about your livelihood, right? And it's really about looking at how there is a gap, and specifically in this case, a wealth gap in this country, and then how do we solve for that? So that's really where the educational aspect came from for us. It's being able to say, hey, we understand that there's a wealth gap. We want to decrease it as much as well. I mean, if we can't close it, but decrease it as much as possible. And one way for us to do that is to be able to get this specific demographic into the tech space, because we know that tech is flourishing, right? That's really the 3,000, 10,000, like that's what that is. And then more specifically, when I came to Atlanta, coming from San Francisco, like the Bay Area, so when I used to live there, I noticed that how big tech was. I didn't even get into tech until like 5-6 years, well, no, maybe more than that now, years ago, right? And my brother was a developer, so even being next to somebody that was a developer, I didn't even see the value. There are a lot of lilies in this world who don't see the value. I mean, I think they're seeing it more and more now, but there are a lot of people, right, like who are not seeing that. And so when I moved to Atlanta, what I noticed is like, oh my God, there isn't a strong hub that brings in that specific community I mentioned earlier, right? And so what we wanted to do is like, how do we bring that community? So we had two problems. One is, hey, the big problem is, hey, there's a wealth gap, and we want to decrease the wealth gap. And then we said, well, how do we do it? Well, one part is we want to get people these jobs, and in order to get them these jobs, they need to do these two things. One is you're going to need to get the education, and then the other one is you're going to need to connect with these individuals who are hiring. So that's really where the space product South lives, and then specifically focused on in the southern region of the U.S. So in the Atlanta area.
So you niched and you niched, and then you niched into geographical niche.
Ooh, and we niched, but we help, from an event, especially when we have virtual events, virtual programs and stuff, we help people really globally. Whoever wants to come and learn, wants to come and get a job, you can. It's just that, to your point, that niche for us is the South.
So what I want is for founders to, see the big pie, right? The big bajillion market you're going after, right? you have your serviceable circle within that. And then
Mm-hmm.
within that is the one you're addressing right away. But even before that is your launchable, addressable.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it allows you to prove your value proposition. Oh, wait, I feel a graphic coming on, right? Prove that value prop. But it's so important. And that's why I brought up, Lily, that, you niche, because regionally, and then, your psychographics, your demographics of who you wanted to serve so that you could prove your value prop. And how did that work for you?
Mm-hmm.
Because, everybody, we come up with a great idea. We think the market's going to like it. And here's the ugly truth, by the way, folks. You could do focus groups. You could get people saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy the minute you launch. And then you launch and they don't show up at all.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not alone if that happened to you. But then you
Mm-hmm.
learn. Back to Lily. With the product South, you saw this hole in the market. Who did you partner up with for this, first of all?
From a company perspective or from a team?
So with Product South, did you partner up with your brother for this, or did?
Oh, no, Lydia Andemariam. That's my co-founder. Yeah. So
Great.
I think you met in the founder gym world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to share that so people don't think you're on your own
I'm
managing
not.
this.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And then, so what did you have to do to get going? Like, how did you say,
Yep.
okay, we want to up here elevate the income earning capability of a
Mm-hmm.
specific population, and
Yeah.
shows them the opportunities that can be really fun and get in so many pathways that can be
Mm-hmm.
successful and financially wonderful for them.
Yep.
But at the same time, we have to make sure the education part works, the prepared to get interviewed part, and then the other leg on the stool or the triangle is the corporate partners are on board.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
how did you figure that out at first?
Yeah, we're figuring out a lot of things as we go, right? So we didn't start with like, this is the problem, this is a solution, it fit, and everything is peachy, and now here we are being a successful business. Not even, not 1000%, like not even, right?
Yeah,
like
you show me somebody who has had that happen, and I'm gonna
yeah. And just also for us, like we're bootstrapping, so we're not, we don't have all these financial resources. What we do have is great connection, because we both come from we both came into the tech space from a non-traditional place.
Yep.
So we have connections in the non-tech space, and we have connection in the tech space.
Nice.
Which is one of our competitive advantage, right? Because we definitely collaborate a lot with companies and experts within specific companies in order to provide educational opportunities for our students. So that's kind of where we lived in. But yeah, so from me, who am I doing this with? Lydia.
Right. And who else is playing in the landscape? Who are your competitors? Who could you look at and go, okay, I like what they're doing. I think I'll do that over here. Just put my spin on it.
Yeah. So it kind of depends, because we live in the education and the connection, which is really the event space.
Yeah.
So I would say one of our eventually competitor, not in this space that we're in, because I think we're really young. Afrotech would be an example of one potential competitor in the future, because they're focused on connecting diverse talent with companies through event opportunities, which is one of the things that we do. And then on the other side, if I were looking at, we focus on product management and educating people on product management. And it's a great company called Product School. They do a fantastic job. Not as diverse, I hate to say it. And if the founders listening, just FYI. But that's also like Product School and General Assembly, which are more the trade school type of companies. Right. They do a good job as well. The competitive advantage or the differentiation point for us is Product School or General Assembly are not focused on just diverse talent. They're focused on everybody, and it's very expensive. And we know our demography cannot afford $4,000 to pay $4,000 for a 2-month thing. One, and then two, we also know the demography we're trying to help. They're not in a space where half of them don't even know what tech is, right? Like they know tech is hot, they know there's money, but they don't know where to start, right? And so when you're looking at our audience, we focus on the beginners and the transitioners. The transitioners, Product School and General Assembly is competing with us, which is fine. But the beginners, there are not a lot of people that are actually in that space. You have like one-off people, maybe somebody with a YouTube channel, but it's not a full-blown business where people are focused on educating, like, what is tech? What are the rules? How do I break in? Like, give me that support system on an ongoing basis. So
when you launched, you said, okay, here's our idea. How did you prove your minimum viable product? How did you create that, put it out there, and prove your value prop? Because again, that's where the learning happens, folks. But it's also the hypothesis often fail, and that's why it's the number one reason startups fail.
For us, so the company was formed, I should say, in 2019, and started with really just sharing some content on social platform, nothing past that. We really went full force last, I want to say March, so about a year ago fully. And when we first started, we started with a tech conference, and we planned the tech conference within, I want to say less than a month. We maybe 5 weeks, but somewhere between 3 to 5 weeks is how long we planned it for, and immediately had about 365, I think, people came to the conference. So that showed us that there's interest, right? Like, that showed us there's interest. And then coming out of that conference, we actually launched a program called Find Your Fit in Tech, which again specifically focused on for those beginners who like, think of somebody that works at a call center, a teacher, a taxi driver, a store manager. They know tech is something. They know it's big. They know there's money, right? But they're not in these very corporate settings where they're interacting with a product person or a designer, right? So for those audience, what we wanted to do, or even somebody just coming out of college or finishing high school, and we don't focus too much on that audience, but finishing high school and they don't know where to go. They want to go to college. They know it's expensive, but what do I do once I'm there? Find Your Fit in Tech is like a very inexpensive program. We started it as a cohort, and we launched it right after the tech conference. And the reason why we did it is because we knew we were already gaining momentum with the tech conference and the number of people we're getting. So coming out of that, it was really easy for us to say, okay, now that we're gaining momentum, we can retarget these people, and then launch the cohort. And then we launched the cohort. The lesson learned with the cohort, initially we launched it as I want to say it's the 5-week program. It's live sessions. We're bringing in experts from like the Googles of this world, the Facebooks of this world to teach, right? Which is great. But what we noticed is, again, for that beginner audience, the price point was too high, right? And what the problem we're solving for them was, hey, instead of you spending 6 months researching what's product management, what's development, what's design, come here and spend a month, learn from people who are actually doing this, build your network, ask questions. Here is your chance to decrease the number of hours you're spending doing this research, because you're trying to figure out.
Yeah, you're showing them the investment they're making.
Exactly.
And as we all know, Lily, you're a sprinter. So you're a seasoned sprinter. So you're going to make sure you're going to make sure that in that 5-6 week period, they're going to sprint to the finish line, and they're going to save time and effort, because you can be twiddling your thumbs and time goes by and you're still not moving ahead, and being able to show that investment is so key. And Lauren has 2 great questions here. How did you market the conference to get that many attendees? Agree 100%. And, she gave herself 4 weeks, maybe 5. And so early in the show, Lauren, Lily mentioned that she's a sprinter. So I think that for her, that was plenty of time. But,
Andy, I will say this. The thing about my co-founder and I, why we work so well, is while we may have from a career perspective, relatively similar background, right? Like, but you usually want somebody different. But in our case, we actually both came from like the sales, marketing, product space. We literally went, like, we both did sales, we both did marketing, we both did product management. So you would think we're very similar. Our personalities are very different. She's more like, you need to calm down. She's like, okay, let's really think this through. Like, are you sure? And I'm more like, this great idea, we should do it. I am that person. And I don't mind sprinting. Like, I don't mind spending 12 hours a day. I don't mind. It's not healthy though. It's not, and so she's more like work-life balance.
Because while you had to, get 350 people, that's a huge turnout, folks.
That's interesting, because I don't think so. I think we could have done more.
Getting anybody to show up, trust me, is really hard. But yes, to Lauren's question though, what did you do in marketing that was so appealing that got people to show up? Because that's it.
So from a marketing perspective, again, both Lydia and I come from marketing, and we understand how social works, how word of mouth works, how all of these things. And so that was really, again, thinking back to competitive advantage, we have founders who have done these things in corporate and have done it so well in corporate. So we're really just taking the playbook from corporate and applying it here. One of the things that was really helpful is we have a lot of different speakers, right? And so we made sure we push out those flyers out in advance enough so that people know. So we not only did we tap into our own network, but we tapped into the speakers network.
Nice.
And
you use their brand, their clout as the magnet.
Exactly. So one is that, but we also did it very professionally. It wasn't MVP for us, and but the MVPs are starting to look a lot like very well done, like actual products and companies at this point, right? Like, because we have platforms like Canva that allows us to create really nice like creatives that are very professional looking. And so I think one of the biggest thing is, first, we both worked a lot of hours. So I'll just be honest. We both did a lot of the marketing and all of these things. So that was a lot. So first we did that. We had our site up so people can, of course, sign up and stuff. We created the event online. All of those things were together. We did those things really, really fast. Like, we really had long hours, weekends. We worked through all of them. And then we, of course, advertised on social platforms, which help us get a lot of people through that. And the biggest thing is the being able to tap into the speakers, and then where the speakers worked also helps. So one of our speaker, for example, was a PM at Google. So being able to say like, oh, and then one of our speaking session was roadmap to product management. It was called Roadmap to PM. We had speakers from from Google, from Delta, from like, I forgot where she worked, but a lady from who's like a senior VP in product management. And they are all different from each other. They don't even know each other. So what that allows, going back to your point, is it allowed us to tap into a very diverse group of people. So things like that was definitely helpful.
Right. And so you had and I agree, Lauren, that's so great, being able to tap into the speaker networks, and people who have that expertise that will help attract your target audience. And, and I know Anna Pereira can, speak to how, you can have an event, but getting that many people to show up is not always so easy. So you did a tremendous job. But now you've got these people in your funnel. How did you convert them into taking the next step? And
so after the conference, we launched Find Your Fit in Tech, which was the cohort. We ran the cohort twice last year. We did better the first time around because it happened right after the conference. We already had momentum. And that's kind of one of our business model, right? Even now we have things coming up. We just had a career fair with a little over 300 people that also we planned during the holiday, which again was ridiculous idea. I don't know why I keep doing this to Lydia, but
well, and especially marketing people, right? Doesn't matter. We're doing it over the holidays.
Yeah, how dare I? And honestly, that's what I mean. It's so great that I have her, because I'm a slight workaholic naturally, and I don't say that to be proud, even though for a long time I did say it to be proud, right? Like, I want to be like, look how great I am. I work so hard. I've learned at this age, and I'm in my 30s. I learned at this age that that's not cute. That's not what you want to do. You want to be happy, right? And overworking yourself, which could lead to bad health and all of these things.
And also it shuts down your brain, and you need your brain to be
your creative juice.
Yeah, you're creative, and innovation requires you to take a break once a week, everybody. And put it on your calendar, schedule it, and just turn everything off and go do something that makes your heart sing, so you can restore yourself and come back. And that's so hard, because being a founder can be addictive almost, right?
Yes. And it's so funny because the other thing about being a founder, I recommend everybody to go through therapy. One, just for life. I'm a huge advocate of therapy because I need it more often than not. I'm like, oh, let me just go back and see why I'm acting the way I'm acting, because this doesn't sound right. But also what happened in therapy is it helped me understand myself better. So when I'm showing up a certain way in my relationships, including my that team relationship, then I know why I am the way I am. And I know that either I need to calm down or I need to really push through, or whatever it may be, right? but yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
Anthony
other thing.
Ware from our group was on talking about that. Very important
Mm-hmm.
that founders honor the fact that it's all about self-awareness, and your growth
Mm-hmm.
is, and how many times am I saying this, viewers, right? Founderhood is the best personal development program out there. It really forces you to take a look
Yeah.
at what works, it doesn't work. Lily and I and Lauren, who you've seen in the comment threads and we interviewed last week, we all went through Founder Gem. Jeremy did too.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal platform, everybody. Phenomenal. They teach at a level you will have never experienced before, except maybe Product South and Lily's company, but they really up your game, both in marketing,
Mm-hmm.
the money, because we all need therapy about money. We all have indoctrinated beliefs around money. And you're a founder, you can't let that stuff get in the way. But
Mm-hmm.
also raising capital, what does that look like? So Founder Jim.
It's I think especially the Money Magnet program. What I loved about it is it kind of felt like a mini like MBA or business school. If you're
Absolutely.
right, if especially if you're a founder and not coming from like not fully understanding how business work, I would highly recommend. I think I don't know where they are with running or how many they're running each year. The Money
Yeah,
Magnet program was really amazing.
outstanding. I have an MBA. I've been in finance. I've raised millions of dollars, and I've,
Hmm.
continually educated myself over the decades. This was outstanding. It was worth
Yeah,
much more than they charged. And I
yeah,
got so much out of it, not to mention wonderful people like Lily from the
exactly.
group. But,
We made
and
a
I
great
think
friends.
I know, but to get back to Product South, so
Hmm.
now you've had a good year of, because it was March of
Hmm.
2020 that you really launched and you had your first event, and then you led people into a cohort, and then you got to do another cohort and you got to compare.
Hmm.
Where do you see things going now? What's next as far as your strategy? And you can give us the sprinter strategy versus
Hmm.
the turtle on roller skate strategy, but
Hmm.
what has to happen, because what you're providing is so important. And
Hmm.
there are people, like you said, the cab driver, the house cleaner, the bodega person, other people don't know that this is a pathway, and it won't take 4 years or even 2
Hmm.
years for them. It is a quick thing that you can get the education, the certification for, and then be going into a job that gives you great benefits. And look, better than anybody, there is a need for this tech talent out there, right?
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. And so what we're doing, for 2021 specifically, sometimes I forget what year I'm in. I'm like, what is this? For 2021, so we just came out of a tech career fair with so many amazing companies who came to recruit, like the Visa and Facebook and Pandora, you name it, like all these big companies. Again, this is another thing we did really fast. So I know Lydia's tired of me at this point. So we want to continue to bring the tech career fair, right? For those individuals looking to get a job to connect with recruiters. We also have our annual conference that's coming up end of Q2, early Q3 of this year. And that's going to be a lot bigger. We're actually in conversation with some of the companies I mentioned to partner with them going into the like mid this year or the second half of this year rather. And so we're definitely working on building a stronger bond and relationship with all these companies. So more of the B2B approach, just because that is who's going to hire and we need that support. And a lot of them are looking to help people like ourselves who
Sure.
are really trying to change the world, right? And so,
And now that
uh,
remote, everybody's like, you can work from home. We're good.
yeah, yeah. And so we want to do that. So we have the tech career fair that just went off, and then we have the big tech conference that's coming up later this year. In addition to that, we're working on a certification program, which I don't want to share too much yet because we want to finish things off. But we're also working on launching a certification and a parentship program. I cannot say that word. That's going to be launching later this year as well. And it's really the other focus is really making sure that the company is good too, right? So one
Right.
part is like, hey, let's put things out where financially we're getting money, but the other part is like, how about the team? How about the company? We're changing certain things within the company formation itself, so making sure that's done. We're looking to hire additional teammates. We're realizing that thankfully we're starting to get some market share from an awareness, I would say, not full market share because they're not, full customers yet. So we're gaining awareness. People are definitely knowing more. I can see our site analytics increasing because we're getting more hits, more followers, right? So we're at that space where we really need to kind of like button down, like, how do you say, like, I guess button, is it button down?
Button up.
Button up, button down. Just don't
Hammer
take it off.
down, button up.
Yeah. Hammer down and like really make sure that we build the team that we need to build, so that whether if it's this year or next year, as we continue to relatively scale is depending on how you're describing scale, right? Like scale could be like making 2-3 million a year, or scale could be preparing yourself so that you can, right? And so we're in that space too from a company perspective, is just getting it together, getting our ish together, so that we can serve the community. Our community has grown tremendously, over 30,000 people within like less than a year. And so
that's tremendous. And the community, I know you were mentioning before we came on live that you have a great community on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And where are the other pockets of your community? And do you get and I know you're watching your analytics, how do you get them to your website?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So from our analyst perspective, we get a lot of direct people coming directly to product sales. And I think the main reason for that is because we are getting a lot of people from Clubhouse coming, and you will have to type productsales.com in order to come, right? And so just from a full platform perspective, so within our social platforms and our email list, we were just pulling data because we have partnership conversations next week. And we noticed that like by the time it's next week, we're probably gonna have more than 35K in our community. But we have a club on a Clubhouse called Product Managers. I think in that itself, we have almost 30,000 people. And then we have at our email list, our other social platforms as well. We have a LinkedIn team of,
so plenty of conversion opportunity.
Yeah, definitely. And it's the other thing too, is like learning which converts. And as we were talking earlier for our career fair, we noticed 65% of people came through Clubhouse versus our social platforms, even though our other social platforms have been around way longer. And so it really is one of the things we learned is it's really where you focus your energy. We focus our energy in building Clubhouse, therefore it convert.
Right. So, and well, you're going where your people are going.
Yep, exactly.
And where they're hanging out. So in that case, it was Clubhouse. If it had been a different target group, it would have been a different location and you would have gone there and found them. But Lily, I want to sort of take what you said and make sure first-time founders are really hearing this important information, which is the fact that you talked about how you are strategizing for the next 12 months, 4 quarters, or, year and a half, 18 months. On the marketing, growing the business, either preparing to make millions or grow from a multiple million higher, whatever that looks like. But at the same time, and this is where founderhood can get a little challenging, everyone, is that you also have to be working in the business as far as who are the team members that are going to help meet these goals, these numbers. Who do we bring them on? Or last week, Lauren was talking about who she outsourced to for PR and marketing and the outsourced team. Whoever that is, you have to understand where your holes are and invest in those holes in the team at the same time.
Oh, I couldn't have said that any better. That word invest, I think a lot of, and again, I have to continuously remind myself, hey, this is an investment, not money spent, right? Like this is not cost, this is an investment. A lot of times for us founders and just us people, if we're not seeing that direct ROI immediately, we don't take that as an investment. And what I'm learning as far as like bringing in new team members, that itself is a whole conversation. It is an investment and we actually have to invest. Like it's better for me to pay someone to do marketing versus Lily doing marketing versus Lydia doing marketing. So that way we can focus our energy on strengthening our relationship with these big companies, right? Like that's going to need a lot of attention and we want to make sure we do a great job. Making sure that we hire a lawyer. So when we're forming our company in a different way, they can take care of that versus us spending the time to learn how to do that and do it. If you can do it. Like we're both product managers, so we create courses ourselves. There's nothing wrong with that because we already know it's going to be easy for us. Let's do it. even marketing, we can create a marketing strategy. The execution is going to take hours. So it's being able to, again, to your point, invest, but invest in both aspects. Invest in making sure the company is being built up like correctly. And then you're also pushing your marketing and sales strategies and stuff as well.
Yes. And, hi, Laura. Okay, let me just say
Mhm.
hi, a quick hi to Laura. Folks, this is what you do. You get a shout out. This olive oil, this EVOO. Laura, we love it at the Lyons Den. I got to tell you. In fact, I'm kind of stingy. I try to keep, I don't even know if the men in my home are worthy enough to be using this product. Okay. I shouldn't be hoarding it, but what can I say? We love it. In fact, Matt's going to be making he does beautiful home sourdough bread. So we'll be also dipping with it. But everyone, go check out Zaze, an incredible mission-driven company. These are female farmers who are making this olive oil. All right.
Nice.
So it's serving women around the world. And to follow on with that, here's Laura's comment. Ande, you're so right. Where our holes are in the business, find where they are. And if you can't do it right now, figure out how that's going to happen anyway, meaning that whole identify the place, the person, the company, the entity, do the job description so that when you can afford to do it, if you're bootstrapping and you're really on the skinny, you will know who to go find that person for and get them in there. Do the research at a time instead of, the opportunity is ready to go, but let me think about it now. No. Anyway, hey, media prepared. Okay, so Eric, so good to see you. Thank you for tuning in from Twitch. And it's at Media Prepared. See, I love this about the Startup Life Live viewers. They're getting the, at Media Prepared on all platforms. When that mic gets stuck in your face and you've got to be there with your sound bites, Lily, this is the guy who helps you.
Oh, okay. Eric,
So
right?
Yep, Eric. So when the when the local TV station or somebody's calling and says, we want to feature you in our magazine, and you're like, what do I say? Eric makes sure that you say, thanks for the words of encouragement for Lily.
Thank you.
Keep going. It's all good. So Lily, as we wrap these up, I really see things forming and happening. I'd love and you've shared so much about the founder journey with everybody. What do you do though for those moments, right? When you're lying awake at night, or you don't, you want to hide under the covers and not come out, when you're feeling like, what was I thinking? I am not the right person for this business. What do you do to shift your mindset? Because, those feelings are real, folks. You can't ignore them. You've got to give them attention and then shift them. What do you do, Lily?
Yeah. I think what I've learned for me is knowing how to self-care for yourself, which could look different per person. Like that's important on a human level, be a founder or somebody works at corporate or anything like that. For me, I work out a lot. I really, when I say that, people think it's like, do you really? And I'm like, I really do. I genuinely enjoy working out because it gives me the ability to get out of my head. So that's one of my self-love activity, right? They kind of remind me like, hey, you're just human, it's okay. Another thing, what I learned about myself, at least, and again, this is like after therapy, Lily, learning about yourself and why I operate the way I operate. What I learned is I don't really come across the question of like, why me? Like, why am I not doing this right? Or, can I really solve this problem? I think I can do anything. It's a matter of, am I giving myself enough time? Am I giving myself enough resources? Am I doing too much? It's more of on the action of like, hey, where is the improvement opportunity for me? So I kind of disconnect like myself being, and instead of saying like, I'm going to fail, I'm not going to fail at the end of the day. I'm going to be successful. I already had a company that didn't work out. I didn't fail. I learned from that, right? So that mindset of like, yes, when we're that connected and that invested from a time and financial perspective, it feels like I as a human failed. But I, as a human, can never fail, right? Like my existence is not attached to these things, but my actions need to be looked like, I need to do a retro every now and then and say, okay, so why didn't this work? What did you do? What could you have done differently? So I think being able to distinguish the difference between who you are as a person, and even if something doesn't work out, it's not on the human level that you may have not been successful. It's on that company level. It's on that project level. that really will help you keep going, because you're great. You're here for a reason. It's not okay. So like product sale doesn't work out. That doesn't mean anything about Lily. It just means Lily didn't accomplish X, Y, and Z. But on a human level, Lily's still great, right? And so I just want founders to think like that. The same thing for product managers. I say that because we get so connected to the products we build, and you kind of have to take a step back and say like, hey, if that's not successful, it doesn't say anything about me. What, like, it says something about my actions that I need to work on, but not on the human level. So this kind of like distinguish the difference, and
Oh,
also find like a self-love thing. Like, what's your thing? Like, I like to work out. Thankfully, that's a positive thing. Find something positive like that, like you like to do. Maybe take a bath. Maybe take
right.
a step away.
I have to say you had many stitch that on a pillow moments, okay? Just then, but my favorite was I didn't fail, I learned.
Yeah.
I didn't fail, I learned. That is so important. That's a self-love moment. And,
Yeah, you gotta be nice to yourself, because this journey is not easy at all. It is not like, and I mean, I have so many things I can share, and I'm sure a lot of people can't, but the sacrifice that you make from, from family sacrifice to friendship sacrifice, not going on an event because you have to work that weekend, not, sticking around certain problems to solve for other people because now you got to solve the product sales problem, right? Like, it's not, this is not an easy journey. So somehow you have to be nice to yourself. And that comes first, because if you're not well, none of these things work.
that's right. It's so true. That was perfect. As we wrap things up too, I'd love to know, Cordero. Yay! Another member of, hold on, let's bring it up, right?
Woo woo!
Woo woo! Founder Gym team there.
Yay.
So good to see you. Thanks for stopping by and giving some hands and claps and some wind in everybody's sail. That's wonderful. What can we do to add wind to your sails, to Product South and everything that you're doing and that your Lydia, your co-founder, is doing? How can we serve you?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for asking. That's very kind of you. I think just share what we're doing, right? Like, go check out our website. If you know somebody who's looking to break into the tech space and they just don't know where they're going, they don't know what to do, send them to Products Out, and we can take it from there. I think that would be my action item. Is if you know
Right.
somebody, if you are that person, let's say you've been in your career for 5 years, you're in sales at this great company, and you want to go into tech, you don't know where to start, come to us. We can help you.
That's right. And what a gift you are, Product South. And yes, Lauren, this is an excellent episode.
Oh.
Lily, you shared such wonderful information, not just on your whole mission and vision for Product South, but really on the founder journey from start to finish in this conversation. It's goosebump material, what you shared with such honesty. And
That's all you're gonna get.
yeah, yeah, entrepreneurship gets put into the category of mythological
Mhm.
stories, and it's ridiculous. It's real. Lily, that's what you brought today, as well as the wonderful things that you're doing for. Well, you know what? You're doing a service for your corporate partners by bringing
Mhm.
people who are ready to dive in and that they can feel good about helping those folks transition into something that they feel is maybe more worthy of who they are and can be. And
Mhm.
so you serve them. You're serving, of course, the folks who want to get into tech or didn't even know about tech. And then you blew open their minds and just went, wow, I love this. And you give them an opportunity to make that transition and make the connections. And then, of course, you're doing a beautiful job serving yourself and feeling good about all of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. I feel great. I feel
That-
great about what we're doing. I'm
that's-
tired, but I feel great.
Any last thoughts for the audience before I go into the full screen and do my closing comments?
No, just thank you so much, Andy, for
My
having
pleasure.
me. For anybody who is new to this conversation, definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel. And, you continue to get these
Well, thank you
conversations.
for that. And I encourage
Yeah.
everybody to connect with Lily, Lily A, Lily Andemariam, everywhere she glows, because it's a wonderful path. It's fun to watch and cheer her on, and then let her know what you're doing too with your business, because she'll be
Yeah.
cheering you on right back. She's that kind of a person.
Definitely. Thank you,
Yay!
Andy.
Okay, folks. Oh my gosh. I really meant it from start to finish. Lily wove in some beautiful words of wisdom for the founder journey, because it is not easy. And y'all have such great courage and tenacity and resistance and persistence. And we really need to celebrate that in ourselves and everything we're doing. I want to share with you real quickly who's coming on Tuesday, February 23rd. I promised you all that I would get that Pinterest expert, and she's here. Yay! If you're ready to learn how to leverage Pinterest for your new business, then you're going to love meeting our guest, Elisa Meredith, a popular speaker and teacher on the topics of Pinterest marketing and Pinterest ads. Elisa is bringing a gift to the Startup Life live audience. So you definitely want to tune in live to the show. And it's a free video course called Pinterest Quick Start, Begin Marketing on Pinterest in 1 hour. And you know how to stay on top of all the shows. Right here, you're going to join the meetup group and scan that QR code, and it'll take you right there. And you'll be alerted every time I post a new episode. I'm very excited about Elisa because look, we were talking about analytics, right? Following the analytics, over 50% of my website traffic comes from Pinterest. I have 1,700 followers and I get over 600,000 views per month. Whenever I post a video, I get from 2,000 to 5,000 views on that video. And I have this much idea of why. 0. So I'm really excited. Mark your calendars. Make sure you join me for that episode. And then in closing, I just want to remind all of you founders, please remember, you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and oh yeah, smarter than you think. That's the truth. You've got this, everyone. I'll see you next time, okay? Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you so much for tuning in.